What's up, everybody? Parker here. Wanted to give you some lawn care tips. The first tip I wanted to give you guys was the recommended cut height for your lawn varies based on the type of grass you have. For example, you have St. Augustine, which you should be cutting that at 4 inches and up. Take Bermuda, for example. You should be cutting that at 2 inches or less. Kentucky Bluegrass, 3.5 to 4 inches. Whenever you do cut your grass, you should always go by the 1/3 rule. Never cut off more than 1/3 of the blade. If you happen to be gone on vacation, or for some other reason you can't tend to your lawn for a while, you may have to step outside of the 1/3 rule. But when you do cut your grass, what you're going to have to do here, what you're shooting for is you're wanting to retrain your grass to where, depending on what type of grass you have, it's meeting the cut height requirement, like, the optimal cut height. You're going to retrain it to hit that again. When you come back and your grass is way above what it should be, what you're going to do for your first cut is you're going to cut on your highest setting, and then you're going to start retraining your grass back to that optimal height for it. You'll cut at your highest setting, and then you'll start going by the 1/3 rule again until you hit your cut height. For, like I said, St. Augustine, you're going to want to cut that at 4 inches and up. Bermuda, you're going to want to cut that at 2 inches or less. Kentucky Bluegrass, you're going to want to cut that at 3.5 to 4 inches. You're going to want to try to avoid cutting when it's wet, because it's hard on your yard and damaging to equipment. It'll clog your equipment up and everything. It's real hard on it. Wet grass causes for a dirtier looking cut and fungal infections in your yard. When it comes to your grass clippings, I can bag those up for you at no extra cost, but I do recommend leaving the clippings because grass is primarily water and nitrogen, also known as fertilizer. If you mow your own yard and you're wondering how often you should sharpen your mower blade, you should sharpen your blade when your grass is cutting shaggy instead of clean and even, or every 8 hours, at least 2 to 3 times per cutting season. When I do cut your lawn, I make sure to go in different directions. Reason being is because I don't want to start causing ruts, and also I don't want to train the grass so that it begins to lay over. You'll see some yards where, like, you can see the grass just completely laid over. It's because what they're doing is they keep going back and forth the same direction every single time they cut. Well, when I cut your grass, what I do is I make sure every single time I cut your grass, I'm going in a different direction. Say I could show up and I go north to south. Well, next time I want to go northeast to southwest, and then I'm going to go east to west, and then so on and so forth all the way around the compass. You know what I'm saying? And I make sure I cut it in a different direction every single time because I don't want to be causing damage to your yard. Cutting it in the same direction every single time, it will cause damage to your yard. Okay, now next pieces of advice. Excuse me on this video. This is the first lawn care video I'm making, I guess, besides the one I made yesterday going over poison ivy. When you're dealing with poison ivy and oak, make sure you are wearing the proper attire. Long sleeve, long pants, boots, gloves, any type of protective gear that you can get on, you're better off wearing it. When you go to dispose of your poison ivy and your poison oak, burning poison ivy and oak is a bad idea because it puts the oil from poison ivy and poison oak, the oil from that plant that causes the irritation and whatnot on your skin, the oil that causes it to be poisonous, when you burn that, what happens is that oil gets put up into the air and you can breathe that in at that point, and it becomes lethal. And you can actually die from breathing that in, and it's also lethal to animals. So, like, you can kill off your pets by burning poison ivy and poison oak and all that. Every time that you deal with poison ivy and poison oak. Make sure you clean your tools by getting a plastic tub, trash can, or bucket. Grease fighting detergent, rubber gloves, eye protection, long pants, long sleeve, mask, poison ivy lotion, rag, garden hose, rubbing alcohol. What you're going to do is you're going to fill the tote, you're going to fill the tub with your hot water, and you're going to fill it up with your detergent. You're going to glove up, and you're going to put your tools that are not power tools, you're going to dip those down into the bucket with the hot water and the detergent. You're going to leave them in there for about 10-15 minutes. When it comes to your power tools, though, take your rag, and you're going to take that hot water and that detergent, you're going to clean your power tools with that rag. You're going to rinse and dry your tools after you get done, and you're going to take the rubbing alcohol and you're going to go over it again with the rubbing alcohol. Now, what I suggest after you do all this is apply linseed oil to avoid rust on your tools. When you wash the clothes that you were wearing when you was dealing with the poison ivy and the poison oak, when you run those through your washer, what I suggest is that you run at least one empty load in your washer after you wash your clothes that you were wearing when you was dealing with the poison ivy and the poison oak. Make sure there's at least 1 to 2 loads in your washer before you throw your other clothes in there. You don't want none of that getting on your other clothes. Next thing you know, you'll have, this irritation taking over your house. You'll have it, your spouse will have it, your kids will have it, everybody will have it. The best way that I can suggest to you to dispose of your poison ivy and your poison oak is to take the poison ivy and oak to the transfer station if you can. After you take the poison ivy and poison oak to the transfer station, be sure to wash your vehicle outside and inside, because you can still pick up the oil from the leftover oil from the poison ivy and the poison oak. It will still be left on your vehicle, inside your vehicle. You're going to want to clean all that off. You don't want to pick that back up. Now, when you are exposed to poison ivy and poison oak on your skin, make sure you shower and scrub good within 2 minutes. You have a 2-minute window here. Scrub really good, and I'm talking about scrub, and make sure you get all of that oil off of your skin. Now, I'll be sure to leave in the heading for this video the name of the ointment that I just got. I seen that it was suggested by Mossy Oak to use this ointment to get the oil off of you. Just got it. Samantha just went and got it for me, and I'm telling you, it's already working for me. Mossy Oak suggested it. I'm suggesting it. I'll leave the name of the ointment in the heading for this video, and make sure you have calamine lotion on hand just in case. When it comes to your fence lines, you are going to have poison ivy, poison oak, all these poisonous plants taking over your fence lines. Not only are you going to have these poisonous plants taking over your fence lines, you are also going to have poisonous debris taking over your fence lines. It is not unusual for me to be cleaning a fence line and it's covered in poison ivy, poison oak, all these different poisonous plants that we have in the state of Indiana. And it also has syringes in the fence line. Maybe not from the person who lived there. It could have been by a passerby, and they just threw it over there in the vines that was on your fence. I've seen little dope baggies on fence lines. So not only do you have poisonous plants, but you also have poisonous debris on your fence lines. If you have a fence that you need taken care of, be sure to get a hold of me. If you decide to deal with your fence line on your own and remove the poison ivy and poison oak, you need someone to detail your car now, because you now have the Urushiol oil on your vehicle, get a hold of me, because I also detail cars. Much love. Keep your faith fit for the fight, whatever your fight may be, and God bless America.